AI is already doing the work that got a lot of data professionals hired. Cleaning data, writing SQL, building dashboards, tools like ChatGPT and Claude can do all of that today. So if that's the bulk of what you do, then yes, your role might be at risk. But here's what I've actually seen working as a data scientist and AI engineer. The people who are safe aren't the ones who know the most Python, they're the ones who think in systems, and that's what I'm going to break down in this video. As we all know and have experienced recently, AI can do a lot of the job. AI can already write good SQL queries, clean data, build dashboards. It is directly affecting repeatable tasks because AI can do them as long as you give it instructions. Knowing Python is no longer a competitive edge because AI can write code, whether it's complex, simple, it can do a lot of these things. So the risk is not AI in itself, it's staying comfortable with automatable work. That's where the risk is. The roles most at risk are pure dashboarding and reporting, simple descriptive analytics, ad hoc data cleaning and transformation, one-off scripts with no system behind them. If AI can define the task, AI can do the task. And think of it as is simple work that analysts do, scientists do, and data engineers do. If your job is just doing the dashboarding and reporting on top of data that already exists, this can lead your role to be at risk. Obviously, there are layers of difficulty. When you work in enterprise, you handle more data, there's more nuance, there's more context, but that's what I'm gonna emphasize on later. If you just do some simple descriptive analytics and that's your main job, then definitely you're at risk. If you can think of systems, build things that are cost effective, latency effective, then as a data scientist, you stay more relevant. And if you do some ad hoc data cleaning and transformation on Excel, then yes, again, there is a risk here. I just want you to understand the layers of risk so that we can also think of the layers where you're safe. So what is the gap really? What AI still cannot do properly? It cannot own a production system end to end. That's nearly impossible. There are so many layers, it can understand them, but you still need to guide it, give it context, and add your own touch to it. Otherwise, it's just going to spin something random and try to save some tokens. It cannot decide when a model is drifting and needs retraining. It can guess, but it cannot decide for you. Otherwise, it's going to make mistakes and the whole company is going to suffer from it. It cannot understand the trade-off cost, latency, and reliability and the real constraints, not in theory, and they're your own constraints. It cannot make calls that affect a live business. It can't. It can't just make calls, jump on calls with stakeholders, understand the requirements, and translate them into something that works. So AI generates code, humans own the system, and you want to be this person that owns the system. First, I want you to start thinking in terms of system. What is a machine learning system design and what it means? Machine learning system design is the architectural thinking. It's how the data flows, how it's transformed, how it's versioned, how the model is trained, evaluated, stored. How do you make predictions that serves real users? How do you optimize for cost, latency, speed? All of these are design decisions and system thinking decisions, and they are very important. So if we just break down the most known data science and ML engineering systems, we have a data pipeline, a training pipeline, inference pipeline, and monitoring. So if we think of the data pipeline, is how do you extract that data and how do you process it, do feature engineering to it. So basically you prepare it. The training data or the training pipeline is where you train that machine learning or deep learning model. It's where you do a lot of hyperparameter tuning and you try to get the best possible model for your use case. And the inference pipeline is when you literally use that model to make real predictions that serve real users. And monitoring is making sure that things don't break and drift at some points. So these are the things that when you think at a bigger scale and you go beyond just writing a machine learning model optimized for accuracy in your notebook, that's where you start seeing real gains. So most courses will stop at the training phase, because it's simple and you can do it in a notebook and it's cool to present in a demo, but production ML needs all of these layers. There's also a very important segment in data science projects, and it's called MLOps or ML operations. So what is it? It keeps the ML models working reliably in production. So when something works on your computer, that's good for you, but it's not working at scale. And MLOps tries to solve specifically that and also make sure that the testing and deployment are automated and they don't break when they're live used by the real end users. It monitors model performance over time, catches drifts before it causes real damage, and that's the bridge between data science and real software engineering best practices. And we have here four main layers that we can cover is the CI/CD pipeline, which is the continuous integration, continuous deployment pipeline. And this is basically to automate the testing and deployment of model changes. So if there's anything that breaks, it will break early and you will notice it even before it is deployed. Docker is consistent packaging across local, staging, and cloud. Docker is basically the container where you store an image of your project so that it's replicated from anywhere. So basically, if I have a system here that has a specific Python version, it has a few libraries, so it has a few specificities that make the project work on my machine. When you package those and you put them in a Docker container and put it in the cloud, and your project and the model is built from that container, you ensure that it's going to work not just on your machine, but from anywhere else. You have the cloud, which is basically where you're going to deploy and scale your application. And you can use any one of the major cloud providers like AWS, GCP, or Azure, but it's good to be familiar with one of them because they're widely used in the industry. And then we have the monitoring part, and this is where you track the performance of your model. And if you see if there are any drifts, any quality drops, any latency that increases over time, that's where all the things happen. Because when you build a model, you don't stop at the moment where you get it live to the user. We always keep tracking because things are going to change over time. So this is the layer AI tools still struggle to hold together. And this is a layer that also AI engineers incorporate in their AI projects as well. So it's very important to be aware of these. So in order to stay relevant, I want you to have these mindset shifts. One is stop optimizing for tasks, optimize for systems. When you start thinking of systems instead of you're just performing a certain task, then you can stay really relevant for very long. Use AI to go faster, not to avoid going deeper. You can go deeper with AI, you can do more with AI, but you're still the brain. You need to know things and you need to know how to translate them into reality by using AI as your co-pilot or your assistant. Own the problem end to end. Design, build, deploy, and maintain. Don't stay stuck in one thing because that's where you create a real risk for yourself. And also translate business problems into data solutions, not just models. Stop talking with accuracy, tools, skills. Talk about impact, and that's what people pay for. The people AI replaces optimize for tasks. The ones who stay relevant own systems, and that's the big differentiator. So the ones at risk that we can see on the left are the ones that build simple dashboards, do some simple cleaning, scripts, and reporting only, because these are things that are becoming quite powerful with AI. Basically, anything that is repetitive, that has a high potential risk of automation, is really at risk, especially if it's very linear and quite simplistic to perform overall. Those who stay relevant are the ones that understand system design, ML ops, cloud, business translation, and all the things that we covered in this video. I recommend highly reading Designing Machine Learning Systems by Chip Hewan that I have just here. It's a fantastic book to learn about system designs, especially for data scientists and machine learning engineers. I put read twice in here, but build end-to-end machine learning projects. I have 2 videos on my channel where I've built full end-to-end projects. You can go and watch them. I'll put them in the description for you. Ask yourself, can you own a production system end-to-end? If not, go and learn. Read a book like this one. Watch some of my long tutorials to understand how it works and just go and practice. Push the limits. AI is here to assist you, which is even more of a reason to go and learn more complex topics because you can have AI on the side to answer all your questions along the way. So think in systems. That is what keeps you relevant. And if you want a really deep dive, a real machine learning end-to-end project, I made a 2.5 long video that I will link just here and in the description for you, so you can go either watch to understand how it works or go and practice for yourself.